Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Danya Humwee, Marketing Assistant for Revolution Group, and I'll be your host for our discussion today on change management within your manufacturing organization. Just a note, we will have a Q&A session at the end of our webinar today, so feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation. Just type them into the control panel on your screen to the right, and we will do our very best to answer all of your questions at the end. For those of you who don't know us, Revolution Group is a Central Ohio-based technology solutions provider founded in 1995. We have been extremely successful in helping our customers leverage technology to improve their businesses. I'm pleased to welcome Kirsten Van Duelman, ERP Strategy Consultant with Revolution Group, as she discusses why ERP implementations fail and the #1 key to a successful ERP implementation.
Hi, everybody. So when you're in the process of evaluating an ERP solution in the marketplace, you'll undoubtedly uncover horror stories about failed ERP implementations. All of these companies you see here on the screen have experienced a recent ERP implementation failure that has impacted their ability to conduct business and resulting in lost revenues and subsequent lawsuits with the solution providers. So these are examples of very costly and very public failures where the ability to conduct business was severely impacted. And while these are atypical, there are many surveys of stakeholders that indicate that there's a lot of unhappiness with the results of ERP implementations that didn't meet expectations. So what can you do? Since most ERP implementations are not catastrophes, I think it's important to understand what failure is. And the most common issue with ERP implementations is that they exceed the budget and the schedule. In fact, almost 3/4 of them have cost overruns, time overruns, process disruptions, ranging from not being able to complete a form to shutting down a customer, circumvention or workarounds, and not meeting return on investment targets. So it's important to understand that software is usually not the reason for the failures. So what is? First, lack of executive buy-in and support. It's absolutely critical that executives and senior management convey by words and actions that they fully support the new ERP implementation. Poor project management, which can be the project leader, the project plan, the communication plan, or any combination of those things. Lack of resources. All companies are very well-intentioned in having people available, but there has to be a plan in place for how the responsibility of those resources will be covered during the implementation, or they will just keep getting pulled away from the project. Setting unrealistic goals and expectations, which can be in terms of scope, timeline, or budget. Not accurately defining business requirements, or in other words, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't identify what the system needs to do correctly up front, it won't be configured correctly and therefore will not work for you. Customization and integration are both areas that tend to add significantly more time and cost to a project than was anticipated. Resistance to change. If the organization is not on board with the change, it is going to be virtually impossible to roll out. And finally, the lack of a good change management plan. The change process has to be managed, or you are going to be faced with an uphill battle. Some great quotes around change management. People don't resist change, they resist being changed. And our dilemma is that we hate change and love it at the same time. What we really want is for things to remain the same, but get better. So, change is a key ingredient and an ongoing activity in empowered environments. And to become empowered, an individual organization must be willing to change. In empowered organizations, change is embraced rather than avoided or delayed. But change can be a painful experience, much like a feeling of loss. Those old ways and patterns are replaced with new ones. Resistance to change in organizations can take the form of mild skepticism, reluctance to contribute time or other resources to the process, and other behaviors that tend to delay or postpone getting involved. This resistance can be reduced through the exchange of information and feedback about the change. Being open and honest in your communication, making sure people understand the purpose of the change, and having a trusting and accepting environment. To create and sustain an empowering environment in an organization, members of the organization must be committed to the change process and have a general propensity toward fundamental empowerment principles. And management must walk the walk here. So what is change management? It is the process, tools, and techniques that guide how we prepare, equip, and support the people side of change to drive organizational success and outcomes. It's also creating a customized plan that identifies and documents areas of change and ensures employees are included and informed and receive the training they need in order to drive success. ERP implementations are business re-engineering projects, and re-engineering is code for change. What are some tools we can use? Well, we do an assessment, understand the scope of change, and scope of change in terms of process and people and equipment. We have to plan our communication. What are we going to communicate? Make it clear, be transparent, and over-inform. It is better to err on the side of over-communicating than under-communicating. Make sure you have plans for the variety of levels in the organization and have a plan for when you are going to communicate. Sponsor support. So again, this is the high-level support of the project. Has to be active and visible and also involved in the communication as necessary. Training is a big part, and at the managerial level, we want to make sure people are educated on the change and the process, we validate with them, and we gain their support to help roll this out. The end users need early and timely training, customize the materials in ways that they can understand and that are applicable to their jobs, and be consistent. Managing resistance. We have to be able to personalize the impact. People want to know you understand that what this change means for them and how it is worth going through for them. Link it to other issues you are having. Make it a broader scope. Understand and deal with the worst case scenario. Appeal to people's emotions and communicate the pros and cons. Again, be transparent. Get feedback and make corrections. And you have to welcome feedback, invite the constructive criticism, and then implement and evaluate revisions. If people give you ideas and things that could improve the process, make sure they are taken into account and focus on continuous improvement. And finally, we celebrate success. Recognize and reward for being a big part of this great change in the organization. Any questions?
Thank you so much for that information, Kirsten. Let me see what questions we have from our listeners. Looks like we have a few. First one, how do I best communicate to my organization and ensure that my employees feel as though they have someone to talk to about their concerns and ideas?
Well, start the communication early and keep it continual. So I'll recommend having a kickoff meeting on day one, bring everyone up to speed with the vision and the project, and provide regular updates. It's also important people feel that they can come to the project team with questions or concerns and that they are taken seriously. Make sure things are documented and that you get back to them with solutions.
How can I make sure that my employees acquire the skills needed to support the change and feel accountable while doing so?
Training is a key task in any implementation. Again, it should happen early and be built upon as the project goes on. If you are changing someone's process, make sure they're involved with developing the new process and also the work instructions for it so that they feel ownership in it.
Great. And the last question for now, how can I best motivate my organization to get to where we need to be?
Well, again, always start with a kickoff meeting where you're sharing your vision and why you are trying to get there, and then reinforce it often. Sharing the pain points that the organization is having now and how this will be resolved with your new ERP solution will generally help with getting buy-in. Great question.
That looks like all the questions we have for now, but if anyone has any further questions or would like to discuss how we can help you with your manufacturing or technology needs, please don't hesitate to contact us here at Revolution Group. Once again, thank you, Kirsten, for presenting, and thank you everyone for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.